one, to start the season, and two, after the start we had to the season. So yeah, it'll definitely be probably a little weird for me over the course of the first couple weeks, and then I'm sure I'll get bored and pick up a basketball.
Just moments ago, a shocking announcement from WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark has left the entire basketball world reeling and fans in absolute shock. If you're looking for the real, untold story behind her surprising decision, you've come to the right place. This isn't just another news story, it's the definitive truth behind the most unexpected event of the season, a bombshell that has completely rattled the foundations of the sport and sent a clear message that nothing will ever be the same again. The air in every arena went silent, reporters scrambled to confirm the details, and a tidal wave of disbelief crashed over social media as the news spread like wildfire, a moment so monumental it will be etched into the history of the WNBA forever. The immediate reaction was pure, unfiltered disbelief. Nobody saw this coming, not the analysts, not the fans, not even the insiders who usually have a line on every major move. When the official statement dropped, a silence fell over every corner of the basketball world, as if everyone had collectively stopped breathing. It was a single, concise announcement that managed to turn the entire league upside down in an instant, and every team, every player, and every fan was left asking the same question: why? Why now? The surprise was palpable, a genuine moment of shock that felt so raw and real it was impossible to fake. And as the initial stun wore off, the real scramble began, as everyone from the smallest blog to the biggest sports network tried to find a single, solid answer, but all they found were more questions. But the real reason for the announcement wasn't just a simple break. It was a deeply personal, heartbreaking story of both physical and mental exhaustion that had reportedly been building for months. The endless cycle of games, travel, and practice had taken a brutal toll, leaving her body worn down and her mind stretched to its absolute limit. This wasn't a case of burnout in the traditional sense. It was a deeper, more profound kind of weariness that had reportedly settled into her bones, a fatigue that went far beyond what was visible on the court. Sources close to her suggest that the pressure of carrying not just a team, but an entire league on her shoulders, had finally reached a point where it became unsustainable, a truth that had been quietly ignored until this powerful and undeniable moment. The physical toll was reportedly staggering, a brutal reality hidden behind her dazzling performances. Insiders have revealed that behind the scenes, she was reportedly playing through an unimaginable amount of pain, a direct result of the relentless, punishing nature of professional play. The lack of foul calls, a constant source of frustration for fans, was reportedly a much bigger issue in private, with sources claiming she was regularly targeted with physical, aggressive contact that went unpunished. This wasn't a case of a player being soft. It was the story of a superstar enduring a level of physicality that was reportedly unheard of, a situation that left her body bruised and battered, and her frustration growing with every uncalled foul. And as the bruises multiplied, the question of whether her body could even handle the rest of the season began to loom larger and larger. The psychological burden was even heavier, a crushing weight of expectation that few could ever truly understand. Being the face of the WNBA meant every move, every shot, every interview was analyzed, scrutinized, and debated endlessly. There was no escape, no moment of peace from the constant noise and pressure. Sources suggest that the fame, while welcomed at first, had reportedly become a cage, trapping her in a cycle of performance and expectation that left no room for quiet, personal growth. The weight of carrying the entire league's brand on her shoulders, a burden that no other player has had to shoulder, was reportedly a heavy price to pay for success. This was the untold story of a young woman simply trying to find a moment to breathe, to step away from the blinding spotlight and reclaim a sense of herself before it was too late. The conflict with the league and its officials was reportedly the final straw that broke the camel's back. For weeks, sources say, there were quiet conversations, back-channel talks, and a growing frustration over the lack of protection she was receiving on the court. It was reportedly a situation that escalated from a simple complaint to a full-blown crisis, with her inner circle allegedly pushing for change. The league, in turn, reportedly showed a shocking unwillingness to alter its officiating style, a move that was seen as a sign of complete disregard for her safety. This alleged standoff, this private war of wills, was reportedly the catalyst for her decision, a final sign that she would not be listened to unless she took the most extreme measure possible. And with that revelation, the full scope of her frustration became undeniably clear, and with her decision, the WNBA was reportedly sent into an immediate state of panic. The league's biggest star, its main draw, the very player who had brought in unprecedented attention and revenue, was now gone. The question on everyone's mind was simple and terrifying: can the WNBA survive without her? The league's commissioners And executives were reportedly in a state of crisis, holding emergency meetings and scrambling to come up with a plan to mitigate the fallout. This wasn't just about losing a player for a few months, it was about the potential collapse of the momentum the WNBA had spent years building. The entire league's future, its financial health, and its place in the American sports landscape were all suddenly called into question, a terrifying reality that became the central topic of every single conversation. Her departure has left the Indiana Fever in a state of absolute chaos, a team suddenly stripped of its most valuable asset and left to face an uncertain future. What happens to the team now? Do ticket sales plummet? Do sponsors pull out? The on-court impact is just as dire, as the team suddenly has to find a way to replace a player who was the engine of its offense, the leader of its huddle, and the reason for its massive media presence. Sources say the locker room is reportedly in a state of shock and confusion, with players and coaches alike trying to figure out how to move forward. This wasn't just a loss of a star player, it was the loss of the team's entire identity, and the question now is whether the franchise can find a new one before it's too late. The ripple effect has reportedly been felt far beyond the Fever, with other players and coaches across the WNBA reacting in a variety of surprising ways. Some are said to be sympathetic, quietly applauding her for taking a stand for her own well-being. But others, sources claim, are reportedly resentful, seeing her break as a selfish act that could hurt the league's overall momentum. There is reportedly a growing sense of division within the league, with some seeing her as a hero and others as a liability. This internal conflict is a fascinating, yet unsettling, side story that shows just how complex and deeply personal this situation has become, and it's a conflict that is now being played out for all to see. And as for her sponsors? The panic is reportedly even greater. Major brands who had invested millions in her name are said to be scrambling, holding emergency meetings to figure out what to do with their ad campaigns and marketing strategies. A break of this length was reportedly not anticipated in their contracts, and the financial fallout is said to be catastrophic. This wasn't just a loss for the WNBA, it was a major blow to the corporate world that had begun to see her as a goldmine. The sudden absence of her name and face from the public sphere has reportedly left a void that is proving to be incredibly difficult and expensive to fill, a shocking development that has created a financial crisis of epic proportions. The untold story behind all of this is reportedly a private betrayal that allegedly pushed her to the edge. Sources claim that in the weeks leading up to her announcement, a trusted figure close to her, someone she reportedly saw as a mentor, secretly betrayed her trust. This alleged betrayal was a deeply personal one, a final emotional blow that reportedly left her feeling completely isolated and alone. While the public story is about physical and mental exhaustion, insiders suggest that this private, unspoken conflict was the final push that led her to make the shocking decision. This is the truth that has been hidden from the public, a dark secret that has reportedly left a trail of emotional wreckage in its wake and a final piece of a puzzle that no one seems to have the answer to. Looking back at her last game, there were reportedly hidden clues, subtle signs of her impending announcement that were completely missed by the public. Her body language, sources say, was reportedly different, a quiet weariness in her eyes, a subdued energy, a palpable sense of frustration that went beyond just the game's flow. There was a moment, reportedly, where she looked at the bench, a look that conveyed a silent plea for help that no one understood at the time. This was reportedly the final sign, a quiet desperation that was on full display for all to see, but that no one had the wisdom to recognize until it was too late. This was her goodbye, a silent farewell that was a powerful and poignant message to everyone who had been watching. The conversation that allegedly sealed her decision was reportedly a heart-to-heart with her family, a final, emotional talk where she reportedly laid out all her pain, all her exhaustion, and all her frustration. It was in that moment, sources claim, that she reportedly came to the realization that she had to step away for her own well-being, that the game was no longer a source of joy but a source of unimaginable pain. This wasn't an easy decision, it was a heartbreaking one, a moment where she reportedly put her own health and happiness above everything else. And with that conversation, the decision was reportedly final, and there was no turning back, and her departure could have a massive, long-term ripple effect on the WNBA itself. Her absence reportedly forces the league to finally confront the issues of player safety, overscheduling, and mental health. This isn't just a loss, it's an opportunity for a major reset, a chance for the league to implement new rules that protect its players and ensure that no other star has to go through what she did. Her sacrifice, sources claim, may ultimately be the catalyst for a new era of professionalism and care in women's basketball. Her departure may have been shocking, but it may also be the best thing that ever happened to the league in the long run, and so, her announcement is not just a story about a player taking a break, it's a powerful and undeniable statement about player agency, and the simple truth that no athlete, no matter how famous or how talented, is bigger than their own health and well-being. This is her message to the league, to the fans, and to every young athlete who is watching. You are not just a commodity, you are a person, and your health is your most important asset. And that is a powerful, undeniable truth that no one can ignore, a truth that has now changed the entire landscape of the sport forever. So what does this shocking announcement mean for the WNBA's future? Do you believe the league can survive and thrive without its biggest star? Or is this the start of a catastrophic decline? Let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. And if you want to be the first to know what happens next in this unfolding drama, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the breaking news and untold stories.